My name is Carmen Reynolds, and I have been asked by Crystal's Exquisite Catering to come in and do a workshop with you all this evening on professionalism in the workplace. Now, you guys are a couple of weeks in to your class, but what you're going to learn tonight is something that you will use in the middle and all the way to the end and when you graduate, and it's going to teach you how to be successful in the workplace as you move forward. So I got some handouts here for you all, and it's for you to follow along as I do the presentation and teach you some skills. And then also, I like to have an interactive, session. So if there's questions, please feel free to, let me know. And if I ask you a question, please say your name first, just so I get to know you just a little better. And I will let you know very important points in here when you need to take a note or something like that. So if that happens, take a note if you can, because it is going to be something that you will use later on as you move forward. And this is really important in the workplace, what I'm going to go over with you tonight. Some of you won't use it now, but you will definitely use it over and over again. Okay? Everybody got a handout? I got a handout? And that's okay. You can't take my picture today. Okay, but that's okay. All right, so again, I have some bullet points on the front. So the first thing that we have on the handout is career choices. And then as we turn the page, then these are going to be the things that we go. So we have career choices, we have resumes, we have proper attire, the interview process, and soft skills. Okay, so go ahead and turn the page. We're going to start off with career choices. As you all see on this page, I have quite a bit of space between the sentences that we have. So that means that I'm leaving room there for you all to go back and put some notes in there, and then you can reflect back on them later. What I like to see with this particular type of handout is when you get to the end of this course, then you look back at what you said and find out if you still feel the same way, if you've improved, if you've learned something, and then you can add on. Okay, so the first thing that it says here is, what am I passionate about? So you guys are in a culinary class right now. Okay, so tell me something that you might be passionate about. And what's your name? Devin. What are you passionate about? In your life, it can be about the class, but tell me something that you're passionate about. Okay, being successful when he grows up. Okay. Okay. Just like what? I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. Those are good things. So what I want you to do here is when you get some time, when this is over, you can go in and say what you're passionate about. Now, what I'm passionate about could be my career. And then at the end, you want to see if you actually were able to do some of those things that you were passionate about and be successful with them. Okay. The other thing is you're passionate about something, but set realistic goals. A lot of times people will set goals that they cannot reach, and then it makes them be discouraged. Okay, so setting goals that you feel like are attainable, even if it's a small step. If I say I'm going to run for 10 minutes the first day, I get past those 10 minutes, that gives me the courage to the next day go a little further. So set realistic goals. And down here, I left a space again. So on there, you want to set goals because people that set goals and look at them can see if they achieve them once they look back over it. So setting a goal is like a dream. There is nothing wrong with that. And you might not reach it every time, but that's why I say try to make it realistic. So you can look back and say, you know what, I had this goal to go through and finish this culinary class and maybe not miss a day. So that's real important. Get the education needed for the career that you choose. So you all are in here because you like culinary. And so that is one of the careers right now that you have chosen. So to get the education for it is the next best thing. You can't just get out there in the workplace and say, hey, I just want to cook, but you've never been trained to do it. Okay, so get the education. That's real helpful. All right, you know when you go to these jobs and they say experience needed, well, if you don't have the education or you haven't worked anywhere, then you're not a qualified candidate for that position. So you want to make sure that you get the education. Once you get the education, which is what you guys are doing right now, then you want to master the skills learned from your experience. Okay, what does that mean? Can somebody tell me what they think I mean by that?
Master skills from experience. That which means like you have an experience, but you want to master that skill so it makes you go farther.
Okay, that's an awesome answer. Anybody else think something different? I want to add to it? Okay. All right, so that was a very good answer. Basically, to master the skill that you've learned from the experience. Once you guys go through here and you're doing culinary, how do I master this skill? I do it over and over and over. And so that's how you're going to get better at it. It's just like riding a bike. When you first started, we had those training wheels. And then we kept on going, and the training wheels were able to be released. So that's what that means. I'm going to master that skill so that I can move forward and keep it going. You guys are working with a 5-star chef, and how did he get to be good like that? He did not come out of school and just know that. It came with him doing it over and over and over. But education came first. Once he had the skill, then he had to master the skill. Questions about that? Any questions? Okay. Lastly is to get a job. Because who's going through here just because they like it and don't want anything from the end? Okay. A goal at the end. What would be a goal for you at the end? Once you go through this training and you're old enough to get a job, what would be a goal for you? To cook? Would you like a job? Or? Okay, okay. That's most people's goal. You know, I never had anybody that walked in and said, you know, I'm going to school because I love it. Okay. We get a few of those. Most of them are going to school and college because at the end, they want to have a career and they want to be successful. They want to take care of families and things like that. So questions over the first topic that we just discussed. Anybody have questions? You guys know there's room on there for you to go back and add some notes and set some goals for yourself. Okay, that's a challenge for you. And I'm going to have Chef check it later. So maybe at the end you say, you know what, this is a goal I accomplished. It'll be something for you to look back and be proud of yourself as well. Okay? Next is resume. Who can tell me what a resume is? Don't read it first. Tell me what you think it is.
Resume, it talks about you, your skills and stuff that you have done in the past.
Okay.
A resume is something like you want employment, like the ministry identify you.
Absolutely right. So I'll put the definition in here, okay? A resume is a document used by persons to present their backgrounds and skills. So you guys were right on time. Who has one? Does anybody have a resume? Okay, awesome. So she's the only one that has a resume because she has some jobs that's on there. Now the goal here, because you guys don't have jobs yet, but is you're moving forward to be able to get a job. So some people are straight out of high school, some have been working on jobs for a long time, but how do I start a resume and I'm just coming out of high school? So those are things that you're going to learn. As we move through this course, I will come back and revisit with you guys, and you'll start to get your resume together. You're going to be able to take notes and start to write things down about what you feel like is on your resume. You say, oh, I haven't had a job. Okay, that's okay. If you're in school, if you've been in a class that you were the class president, or if you were in Glee Club and you were the secretary, or those are things that you can use as skills on a resume. You start to build a resume by what you've done. Okay? And as he said, a resume is used to secure employment. It's like your calling card. Basically, in today's day, you cannot get anywhere without a resume. It's not like we used to. You'd be able to walk in and you can actually say, hey, can I fill out an application? They give it to you, and they might talk to you right there. Your resume is going to be your calling card. So you do have to know how to do one, and you need to know how to do it properly. Okay? Yes.
So, like, say if you do an intern, you still put that on your resume?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. An internship, you might not be getting paid for it, but you have experience. Most jobs out here today, a whole lot of them anyway, are going to say, do you have experience? They don't care whether or not you got paid for it, but yes, you have the experience, and that's going to help you in the long run. Okay. Questions? Questions? All right, let's go to the next page, because this is going to be real important for you guys. The first one is proper attire. The second page is for the men. Okay, proper attire is going to be very important. As you see, you guys are going to have probably a uniform, possibly. Chef has on a uniform today. Proper attire is important, so you'll say, well, what does this have to do with me? So on this page is very, very important. I didn't put any pictures or anything, but today I came in a suit. So for you all, I'm going to use my suit as an example to give you, ideas of what to wear. And you guys, you won't wear a skirt, but you will wear a suit also. Because there are some do's and don'ts that you want in the industry that are unacceptable for you to get a job. And a lot of times you won't know what happened when you turn your resume in, they call you for an interview, and you feel like you did everything right because they called you from the resume because they liked you before they saw you, and then you went in there and said, well, what happened? Okay, it could be anything. So that's why proper attire is very, very important. Even if you're going to be on a job where you wear a uniform every single day, you still also need to come with proper attire. For women, it's very, very important that you don't go in with low-cut tops. I have all those on the handout to you because it's really, really important that you go in there and you dress like you want the job. Okay, you don't dress like, hey, you hire me or you don't hire me. You dress like you want the job. Even if you're going to wear scrubs every day, a uniform every day, a chef's jacket every day, it doesn't matter. Your first interview, then you should have on the proper attire. This handout is going to give you the do's and don'ts for women, the do's and don'ts for men. Okay? What do you feel like would be something that a man should not wear in the workforce? maybe jeans. Okay, jeans wouldn't be good. As a woman, now you have a resume. What do you think that wouldn't be a good idea for a woman to go in and wear?
Short skirt.
Absolutely. Now let me say, you might be sitting across from a man who he loves looking at you in a short skirt and all that, but the reason that he wouldn't hire you is because you could be very distracting in the workplace. Nobody else can get any work done because they're all staring at you. And that would be a reason that he would not hire you, even if he likes looking at it. So there's a lot of do's and don'ts for men and for women. We have a lot of times now, a lot of people are back to natural hair. There's nothing wrong with natural hair, but it needs to be neat when you go in there, especially in the culinary field. Because we don't know what could be all caught up in the hair. You go in there, it's all wild. That's very important. Health inspectors come in. That's why hair has to be covered up. So if you're going for your interview, just make sure your hair is neat. Even if you're wearing it in the natural form. You know, dreads and things like that are very popular now. Okay, people are more accepting of it. Just make sure that you're neat. Your clothes are not wrinkled when you go there. Okay, so the do's and don'ts are on here of what you should and should not wear. Tattoos are a big thing in the industry. Okay? A lot of you might have some. Make sure when you go for your interview that those tattoos don't show. What I tell someone is once you get on a job and you find out what the atmosphere is, then you find out what you can and cannot show and you can and cannot wear. It's very important that the first time you go in there, too much perfume, things like that. You know, for men, you want dark suits. You want to go in there with a belt on. If you can see where a belt goes, then that's what you want to do. You don't have to have a lot of money. You know, when looking for a job, if you have that one outfit, you put it on, you go for the interview, you hang it back in the closet. I got another interview, I put on the same suit. I don't have to keep buying a whole bunch of clothes. I wear the same suit. When I was interviewing for a job, I wore the same suit. Went home, took it off. Next time I went for an interview, I put it on again. It was my favorite suit, pretty much. I called it my lucky suit. So it was a dark brown suit, and it was pants, and I put it on every single time. For men, you definitely want a tie on. Unless you have on a sport coat, and you don't have to wear a tie, but you definitely want to, you know, look like you came prepared for the job. No jeans, no wrinkled up clothes, no sneakers, things like that. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You can find, you know, proper attire in a lot of places. Questions about that? Not a lot of cologne, not a lot of makeup for women. Okay, you gotta be very, very careful about that. If you smoke, I get a lot of people that are nervous. If you smoke, you never know what that person feels about that on the other side. A lot of our places now, basically nationwide, you know, are smoke free. So if you gotta smoke before you go in there because you're nervous, then you need to take all your clothes with you, jackets and things, and smoke before you put all that on. Because
Ms. Brown, what comments can you give us on chewing gum?
chewing gum is very, very important as well. Some people chew gum and it's a nervous thing that they do, and they don't realize that they're doing it. Some of them don't understand that when they go in and they're talking, they might chew gum in between while they're having a conversation because now they've forgotten that they have it. So gum chewing, you just don't want to do it. If you need to chew gum before you go in there for whatever reason, those are all nervous things that I tell people you definitely don't want to talk with gum in your mouth. It's just not something that's professional either. So when you're done, you leave out it, I can throw the gum right back in my mouth, but gum chewing is just not something that you do in an interview, basically. Okay. We'll get more into what you actually do in an interview as you answer questions and things like that. Those are going to be things on the next page as we go through it. So I want you guys to go ahead and turn to the next page. Questions on the proper attire and things like that? Okay. All right, the interview process. Send out resumes. And the reason resumes was at the very beginning is because in order to get an interview, you got to have a resume. Okay? So you do the research on the companies. What I tell people is when I am going for an interview or I am interested in getting hired from a company and they call me because I sent out the resume and I get called for the interview, then guess what? I go on the internet, I research that company. It's very, very important that you know where you're getting ready to work and know something about that company. Okay, very, very important. Next thing on here is have an idea about the salary for the job that you're interested in. Can anybody tell me why they think that might be important?
Well, it might be important because like you want to know how much you get paid, and when you get paid, you don't want to get ripped off.
Okay, okay.
I was gonna say like, so you know how much you're gonna pay your bills and stuff.
Okay, okay. That's a great answer, but it's not the right answer. Okay. Once you get on your job, you definitely want to know, you know, what you're making. You want this?
When it comes to salary, you don't want to ask for too much. You should know exactly how much for the position.
And she's basically on the right track. when it comes to salary, you want to know how to negotiate your salary. So I go out and I look on the internet, I find out the ideal, the range that job might pay. So that when I go in there and I'm sitting down and they're talking to me about it, I'm not gonna go too low and I'm not gonna go too high. So if I go to the job and it pays $30,000 and I'm asking them for $50,000, then they're not gonna hire me because that job doesn't warrant $50,000. Or if I go there and I don't, the job does warrant $50,000 and I put $30,000. They could possibly think this person doesn't even know how much a job like this pays. They're probably not qualified for a job of this caliber. So that's why it's important to know that when you get in there and they say, okay, you might put down there that you want $40,000, but because you know the job pays $50,000, and now you got some room for leverage, okay, in there. So that's very, very important that you know how much a job pays. I've seen it happen over and over where people didn't know how much it was and they got a small amount where they could have got a whole lot more had they had known how much the job paid. So it's just about going out on the internet, putting in the city and state where you're at. That's important. Jacksonville might pay different than Miami, so you want to make sure that you're in the city and state, and then you want to put in for that job so that you know what kind of salaries are out there. So you're basically in there and you're able to be confident and talk about what you want and be on the right track. Okay, questions about that? Okay, make sure, this is real important. Let me ask this question first. What's on your voicemail if I call your telephone? Do you have a telephone? What does it say? Okay, does anybody have a voicemail on this? Okay, all right, but that's very good if you just let the phone answer and use whatever the default version is. You definitely, when looking for a job, want to make sure that it doesn't come on and answer and say, hey, this is so-and-so. Hey, I'm out right now robbing the bank. Call me back later, because they think that's funny. Okay, I can't tell you the people that have not gotten a job because they thought it was funny and they didn't even remember that they had that on there. We just hang up the phone. We don't even want that person because they might not be like what's on there, but you've already scared me. So when you know that you're getting ready to look for a job and you get that out there in the industry, make sure that your voicemail says your name, because they might dial the wrong number, and if you don't even say your name, they don't know that they dialed the right number. Hi, this is Carmen Reynolds. I'm not available right now, and the rest. You want to make sure that your name is there so that the person knows that they called the right number. Okay, that's very, very important with your voicemail. And then Facebook. Does anybody here have Facebook? Okay. Facebook has been, and you guys watch TV, has been the make or break for a whole lot of people. It can make you lose your job and the whole 9 yards. I now work with companies that before they hire you, they go out and check your Facebook. If there's something crazy on there, you might not get the job. I've also been with companies that while you're working there, they go out and check your Facebook also. And you know when you get hired, they say, we could periodically check your Facebook. So you've been on with the company for 3 or 4 years, you decide one day you want to go out and get drunk, and then you put it on the internet, and then you call in sick to work next day, but they see you, that you was out, you know. So it's very, very important that you Facebook, and you can say, but I'm not their friend. Well, they have a way that they can still go in and look at your Facebook. So Facebook is very, very important when you're out there looking for a job, because everybody checks it now because they know people put foolish things on there. So how do I find out what kind of person I have? It depends on what's on that Facebook. Just know that they can, you know, go out and check that. Facebook and voicemail on your phone is very, very important. Okay?
Miss
Questions?
Carmen, what about email addresses?
Okay. Email addresses are important. You want an email address on your resume, okay, because that's a form of social media. That's a form of getting in contact with you as well. So if you have email addresses and you know that that's the way for someone to contact you, then you want to make sure that that's on your resume also. Okay. As we move further along in the class and I come back and I talk to you guys again, then I will tell you exactly how your email should look and when it's on your resume. Everything that should be on your resume as far as contact information, you know, is going to be there. So emails are important. If you don't have one, they're all free. You want to create one, because that's a way that you're going to be able to send resumes. Nobody really lets you come in right now and just hand them anything. You got to go to the internet to send resumes for everybody. Then you go to the kiosk. Even McDonald's says go online and look it up. Winn-Dixie, you got to go over to their little machine. Publix and all that. So if you're putting in applications, you definitely want to know at least how to go onto the internet, and you want to have your email address because that's how people respond back to you about certain things. Okay? Yes.
I have 2 questions. One, when you was talking about the Facebook, what if they have their name as something else?
Well, then they can't find you. That would be totally different if your name is there or a picture or something and they know it's you. But you know, just make sure on your Facebook when you're looking for a job, you don't put anything out there that's too risky.
Okay. And for the email, you said like it has to be like our name and stuff. Or like
No, your email can be whatever you want it to be. But when you put it on your resume, you just want to make sure you add it on there. Yeah, so the email address can be whatever you want. You just make sure that you put it on there so that they can contact you by that as well. That's all. So it doesn't have to be anything special. All right, so set job interviews that you know you can make. I used to work with a lot of people, and sometimes they would set the interview and then not show up. Okay? Worst thing that you can do, because that might be your one shot to be able to get with the company. Emergencies happen, and if an emergency happens, you make the phone call and say, I cannot make it. But if all else doesn't fail, then you should make the interview. Don't make one that you can't make it to, because that is not good. And again, you might only get one shot at it. You know, if you know that you're not going to be able to take a job and get there every day, then don't go for a job like that. You go for the job, you get it, and then you got to find out, how do I get there every day? You know, and that's not a problem that you really want, because now they got a good person, they want you there, but they can't get to work every day. You know, so make sure that it's something that you can get to. If you can't get to the interview, then you're probably usually not going to be able to make it to the job every day. So make sure that it's something that's doable for you. Okay? Questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose, what do you do if you haven't researched the job as far as salary wise and you're nervous to ask?
Well, they are normally going to talk to you about salary, not on the first time, after you get a job. So there's no need to talk about it on the first interview unless they bring it up to you. And if all else fails, you put negotiable. Then you just kind of got to accept what they give you. But on the first interview, normally salary is not talked about, normally. Because why should they talk to you about salary unless they feel like they're going to hire you? So if you're coming back in again and you get hired, that's normally when they start talking salary. So if you don't automatically know when a company calls you the first time that you go in there, they're usually not going to talk about salary. If you get the job, then you definitely need to have went out and did the research. So then you can be a person that can talk back and forth about, you know, what you're worth and what that job is all about. So, but that does come in line with researching that company. Okay? A person that doesn't research a company with me, that's sitting down for an interview, and I ask them some questions and they know absolutely nothing, I feel like they don't think that the job was important enough for them to go out and do the research. I want to know where I'm working at, because if they had some problems in the past, maybe that's not a place I want to work at. That's important. You know, that dentist that just got in trouble? Hey, you know, somebody that might have looked him up might not have went there to work had they have found out what his history was like. So it's important. Okay. Now, last page. This page is really, really important. Okay? So don't look at the page yet. Don't read it. Can somebody tell me what a soft skill is? Yes.
Soft skills are things that you're good at and things that you're not good at.
Okay. Not really. Sort of, but I'll anybody else?
A soft skill is like something you can do, but you're not good at.
But try. No. So a lot of people don't know what a soft skill is, but they use it every single day, all day. Okay? Soft skills are interpersonal skills that characterize relationships with other people. Okay? So if you look at this page, commitment, personal habits, and I'm going to go over all these, integrity, so you'll know what they mean, honesty, respect, teamwork, and dependability. Okay? So from the first time you come into the door and you're coming to class, to work, whatever kind of respect you have, those are soft skills. We use soft skills every day. And I put down here at the bottom, it's very, very important that you remember this. Soft skills are the #1 reason people get fired from jobs. You can have the best person at a job. They come to work every day. They know how to do their job. Guess what? They're mean and rude. They're disrespectful. They come back from lunch late. If you come back from lunch late, tell me how you think it might affect your coworker.
It would affect my coworker really bad, because say if I need that person in a certain area, but they just came from lunch really late.
Action. That's a good one. So yes, if he comes back from lunch late and she's been waiting to go, he's already infringed on her lunchtime. She might have to come back early now because they have to go at a certain time. And it's a matter of respect. So if I'm going to be late to work and I don't call and let them know I'm going to be late or I'm going to be absent, you know, those are soft skills. Those are soft skills that all I had to do was call somebody. It's courtesy. You know, because me being to work late can affect a whole lot of other things. If I'm nasty to him at work every day and not nice to him and I keep little things going on, okay, that's a soft skill. That's not a good one. So soft skills are things that you do every day, and you're going to learn to work as a team. Teamwork is a soft skill. How you talk to somebody, how you respect their space. You know, do I run and tell the boss everything every day about? That's not a good soft skill. You might think that it's a good thing, but he probably or she gets sick of hearing it from you also, because they'll see it. So what is integrity? Integrity is something that I stand behind. You know, it's my integrity. That means I'm going to put my seal of approval on it. And it's very, very important that you stand behind what you feel is good. What's commitment? Commitment is something that you guys are in a class right now that I want to see it through to the end. That means that you're committed. If you come here every week, then you're committed to finishing a class, and that's a good thing to be committed to something. Okay? Dependable. Who can tell me what dependable is? Anybody?
Whenever somebody needs you, they always can count on you.
Okay, absolutely. Just saying, okay, can we count on you? We're going to close the shop early today. The bosses have to go. Can we count on you to lock it up? And we trust you. And they leave, and you say, you know, whatever, I'm leaving too. And you leave right after them. Not being dependable is something that's very, very important as you move through this. So being dependable, saying that you're going to do something, and keeping your word. That's important. Respect someone, and that's important also. You know, so these are things on here that you use every single day. So what I have for you all for this evening is to, when you go home, okay, I want you to ask somebody at home, what's a soft skill? Your mom, your dad, and see what they know. I guarantee you they're not going to know what that soft skill is, but then you're going to be able to tell them, Mom, you use this every day. Dad, you use this every day. It's a soft skill. And do you know it's one of the number one things that a person gets fired for? I'll give you one more example. As I said in the beginning, you can have the person that comes to work every day. They are our best worker, but they do all these other things, and they're not good at it. They're not honest. They're not nice to other people. They don't work as a team, and that's the person that's the hardest to fire, but they have soft skills. Okay? So as you move forward, what's going to keep you on a job from your resume to the end are all the points that we touched on in the presentation this evening. And the last thing is to use your soft skills for all these things, and you pull it all together. Okay? So soft skills is going to be one of the number one things that you use moving forward, especially in culinary. You're going to be able to work with people. And, you know, you got to be able to adjust to attitudes and how to please them. It's all about customer service. Okay? So your soft skills, I want you guys to be able to go and talk to somebody about it tomorrow. Even if you go to school, when you say to your teacher, what's a soft skill? See if she knows. And you can say, you know what, I learned this yesterday. Soft skills is something that we use every day. I guarantee you, they won't know, a lot of them, what a soft skill is. So you've learned something this evening that a lot of people don't know that they use every day just because they don't know what it was called. Okay. Questions? Do you all feel like that you got something out of the presentation today? Okay. So what I would like to see, I'm going to leave these for you all this evening so Chef can check. Put your goals down there. Okay. It's real important that in your mind you say, you know what, I accomplished this. I don't care if you say, I want to learn how to saute the scallops. Put that on there as you go, and when you're done, hey, I got it. I learned how to bake a cake from scratch, if that's one of your goals. And then you see if at the end that you've accomplished those things. It makes you feel really, really good, actually, when you say you wrote it on paper and you look back later and you see that you did it. Questions? All right, I do appreciate you guys, your participation, and I hope that you learned something and you can take it away. I look forward to being back with you all again.